about self-love. We've heard it a million times. Everyone's talking about it these days. I mean, look. In fact, every time I turn on the TV, it's like the only two words I ever hear. See what I mean?
They advocate self-love,
positivity and self-love.
Self-love.
Self-love. Self-love.
It's all about self-care and self-love.
And encouraging self-love.
Or self-love.
self-love.
That's true, but it would turn into possibly self-hatred.
Okay, I battle with the idea of self-love because I'm that person who thinks I'm happy when everyone else is taken care of. It's just who I am. It's what I do. But I think they say that's not super self-love oriented. I don't know. I want to get behind it. I really do. But does anyone even really know what self-love means? I don't. I had to do something to, figure it out, a self-love social experiment to see who else feels the same way I do, and I like to get solution-oriented. So take a look at what some people had to say, and then we're going to get into it.
What is self-love? I have no idea.
Whose definition of self-love are we living by? What does that term even mean?
Self-love. It's all I ever hear my girlfriend talking about. What does it even mean?
We're just using those words as an excuse to do whatever the hell we want at this very moment.
Is it getting your nails done or going to the spa? That doesn't sound like self-love to me.
When I think of self-love, I think of meditation, relaxation, clearing my mind after a crazy busy day at work. Then I remember I have kids.
I don't know what self-love is, but I do know what chocolate cake is. To me, self-love and chocolate cake is the same thing.
What does that mean?
I do not like the term self-love. I think it's very misused nowadays. It's also very personal, so we cannot generalize it.
I don't know.
It's just too preachy for me. It's like the same thing doesn't work for everybody, and the same thing doesn't even work for you all the time.
It's so obnoxious.
It is so infuriating.
It makes me a little pissed off, especially since there's no clear definition.
Does anybody know what self-love actually means? I don't know. I don't know.
And I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. All right, it turns out there is a lot of confusion. So let's rebrand self-love. And by the end of this segment, I know that we are actually going to have a new term for it and a new movement, all of us together. Okay, here to help is psychiatrist Dr. Pooja Lakshman. Hello, Pooja.
Hi, Drew.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. And we have New York Times bestselling author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a You-Know-What, Mark Manson. It's like 13 million copies of books you sold.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And actress and comedian Yamaneika Saunders. And thank you for being here, Yamaneika.
Thanks for having me.
Let's bring some funny. All right, Dr. Lakshman, take us back. When did this self-love movement start?
Yeah, absolutely. So self-love as a concept has been around for years, but we definitely see it get more play in times of social chaos. So especially the past couple of years, when the world around us feels so out of control, we see self-love crop up as this kind of magical solution that fixes all of our problems. And social media definitely has made it worse, in particular Instagram, because Instagram is just such a visual platform, such a performative platform. So it's like people are doing self-love just so that they can be seen doing self-love.
Like checking a box. Mark,
absolutely.
You have a big problem with self-love and the whole movement. Please tell me why.
Well, look, I think it's good in theory, but like most good psychological concepts, as soon as it's brought into the realm of social media, it just becomes a narcissistic jerkfest. I think a lot of people begin to confuse self-love with self-indulgence. Because the idea that using hashtag self-love to get social validation, to get likes and clicks, this is actually the opposite of love. This is just, it's pure ego.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, Yamanika, I want to switch my questions with you, which is like, does it drive you crazy, or how do you feel like or dislike when you see this whole self-love movement on social media?
I mean, for me, first of all, the idea of self-love is completely different because it requires me to wear a trench coat, go into a store, go down in the basement and buy some things that need batteries. So I was all for the self-love. But in terms of like loving yourself and being happy, that's fine. Sometimes it can't be realistic for people and it sets higher expectations. But listen, take care of yourself however you have to.
I love that you still go to a store.
I do.
By the way.
I don't want them to have my address.
Yeah, no, I know. I feel you there. It just feels weird. Okay, Dr. Lakshman, you call self-love empty calories for women. How can they do better?
Absolutely. So what we really need to do as women, I think, is look at the way that we're talking to ourselves and fix our self-talk. So for me, real self-love is all about my relationship with myself and how I talk to myself. So we need to dial back the guilt and the shame and the self-doubt that's constantly running through our minds as a playlist, really. And instead, we need to set boundaries with it. So in the same way that you can set boundaries with activities or with people that are unhealthy, you can do the same thing with self-critical self-talk. So I think we need to say no to the performative fluff of self-love. We also need to say no to guilt and shame and unreasonable expectations that we put on ourselves. And in particular, instead, we need to be feeding ourselves with things that are truly nourishing. And in order to do that, that means that you really need to know yourself. You need to know, like, what matters to me? What are my values? What's really important? And then operate from a place of authenticity. So this means actually training yourself to use that language as opposed to the toxic language of guilt and shame and perfectionism.
I am so at fault of that. I really am. Like, my inner dialogue is toxic. But I've been finding myself saying lately, I'm really trying to live an authentic life. And it's a saying I heard in the 90s and never knew where and when I would embrace it. I mean, Mark, if we ditch the whole self-love thing, what is the new goal? I love what she's saying about the toxic rhetoric in the head, because that's a big problem for people. I'm included in that list. What is your advice? Like, what's your solve?
To me, I think we've narrowed our definition of love. So if you think about like raising a kid, right? The way you love a child is you don't just buy them a bunch of crap. That's not love. Loving a child is doing the hard things, you know, helping them understand right and wrong, helping them become a better person, helping them discipline themselves. You know, so in this way, I see things like waking up when your alarm goes off. That's a form of self-love. Paying your bills on time. That's a form of self-love. You know, stopping after 2 glasses of wine. That's a form of self-love. And these things they're not sexy. They're actually quite boring and quite personal. You know, it's, you know, you can't share them. They're not a spectacle to be seen. And I think that's what makes them meaningful, is because they are simply a relationship between ourselves.
Yamanika, I am so inspired. I don't even know what to say.
I don't know. The things that Mark just said, apparently I loathe myself. I haven't paid a bill on time. It's COVID. We still paying bills on time? I mean, I'm drinking nonstop. You know, listen, I'm going to be good to myself by being real with myself. I think we can't get confused in self-love and not being real about what we need to take care of, and then finding a way to love us and the kids and the bills and the wine.
Well, we have rebranded self-love to fit our new definition. Are you ready for it, everybody? Because we've been waiting months to say this. Go fix yourself. That's right. It's all about doing the inner maintenance. And we actually submitted this term to Urban Dictionary, and here it is. This is our official entry. Go fix yourself. Doing the messy and sometimes hard work on your emotional and physical health as a new strategy for taking care of yourself. And I would love it. I'm doing this literally today. I want us all, if you will join us, because I love a collective social experiment, to post pictures on social media with the hashtag Go Fix Yourself. and start a new movement, one that is truly proactive and not about mani-pedis and buying things, as you say, Mark. And as you say, Dr. Lakshmi, getting into our inner dialogue and doing the work there. And again, I think one of the best ways to take care of ourselves is to laugh with each other and find ourselves in that chemical state of leaving fight or flight and just being happy with our lives and ourselves for those moments. So these are really actionable, doable things. Go fix yourself. Hashtag go fix yourself. Thank you, Yamanika, Mark, and Dr. Lakshman. Mark's latest book, by the way, Everything is Bleep, is out now on paperback as well. And I just love what you guys had to say. I think it is applicable. I think it is on point. It is not bougie or lofty or silly. It is stuff to ground us with. Thank you. This is the kind of go fix yourself we all need. I related to a lot of it. All right, thank you.